Are you excited? I know I am. Everyone is excited. Even the heretics are excited. I just spent the last week playing the new Darktide update, and I have been dying to tell you about everything in it. There's so much more than just the Arbites. Mission changes, huge story updates, new Mortis Trial content, the works. There are some very minor spoilers in this video, but I'm not going to show off entire new cutscenes or plot lines, just snippets. Let's jump straight into it and break down everything to expect from this massive Darktide update. Obey my cat! Hit the subscribe button. Whether you're brand new to Darktide or you're a longtime player planning on getting the Arbites DLC, the first thing you're going to need to do is create your character. The character creation for the Arbites genuinely stood out to me right away. You select from the same planets as the rejects, but everything else actually has some kind of meaningful choice that connects in a much more strong way with the concepts and existing lore of the Adeptus Arbites. Not to say that wasn't present with other classes. Obviously, we had Psychers being taken away on the black ships, things like that, but the scope of your choices seems so much more grounded in the lore of Darktide itself. Once you've brought your arbitrator to life, you'll be treated to a special introduction cutscene for the Arbites. As promised, these are not reject characters, and they have their own reason for coming aboard the Mourningstar. And for my homies that are also not fond of Rannick, you'll probably particularly enjoy this introduction. So, now you've loaded onto the Mourningstar and are ready to hit the ground running. What's new on the ship? The Mourningstar itself looks pretty much exactly the same as it has for a while, until you hit the mission board. The board itself has obviously had, I'd call it a facelift, but in its literal style it's less sharp and looks more like a static evoke screen. If you're a Darktide veteran, you may be thinking to yourself, what the hell, there's a lot less stuff on the mission board. But that's actually not the case, it's just been simplified. When you go to the board, you see the selection of missions for the current rotation, and you can change your desired difficulty for all of these missions. As you increase difficulty, mission modifier conditions may get added. When you click on a mission, you still get the same information like mission objective, difficulty modifiers, mission handlers, and rewards. There's also a new tab now for secondary objectives like scripture retrieval. And those of you with a keen eye may have noticed that there's the Inquisition symbol on some of these missions, which means it's a special event mission. That's because there will be an event that starts on June 23rd, and it's called Inferno. If you're expecting more flamers and grenade bombers, you're right on the money, but this time, Fatshark took it further than just upping those enemy spawn rates. The environments themselves of the missions are blazing. There's a noticeable but not obscuring smoke in the air, and the lights are out, but you can still see thanks to the flames. The event rewards are going to be plasteel, diamantine, and dockets. No Aquillas this time, sadly, but we will get a frame cosmetic that I actually haven't seen yet, so I'm looking forward to finding out what that looks like on the 23rd. Going back to the mission board, you may have also picked up on this, but as you scroll through difficulties, Sedition actually no longer exists. You go from Uprising to Malice, and also Auric is now its own single difficulty. Maelstrom missions are also now only found on Malice and Auric level difficulties, probably to help make it more clear what sort of difficulty you'll be starting at in Havoc mode, since the requirement for unlocking Havoc is to be a level 30 character that has completed a Maelstrom mission. How it currently works is completing a Malice level Maelstrom will start you at Havoc level 1, which is comparable in difficulty to a Malice level Maelstrom, and Auric will start you at Havoc level 16, which is generally comparable in challenge to the Auric Maelstrom missions. While pretty much everything in Darktide used to be unlocked by just your character's level, also called trust level, we now actually have two different tracks to measure your progress toward unlocking all the facilities the Mourningstar has to offer, and a separate one to help demonstrate how you're doing at mastering the game itself. To unlock new mission difficulties on a character, playing missions at your current difficulty level and getting wins increase your progress to the next difficulty, while losses removes progress to the next difficulty. It's important to know that you can never be locked out of or effectively demoted from the difficulty you're currently at, even if you're struggling with winning games. You can always opt to play a lower difficulty at any time, but let's say you're feeling a bit stuck at Malice or Heresy difficulty and you haven't won a match in a while, don't worry. The game isn't going to tell you skill as you get good and kick you out of the difficulty you're currently at. Shameless plug, if you find yourself struggling with a particular difficulty, our Discord community is a great resource to talk about gameplay with people, and I'd love to do runs together on stream to help people get more confident at new difficulty levels. So that's the new system for measuring your overall mastery of the actual game part of Darktide itself, but how do you unlock facilities on the Mourningstar now like Brunt's Armory, Hadron's crafting counter, etc.? Instead of being tied to your overall character level, those will get unlocked based on how deeply you've gotten into the story of Darktide. And that makes sense. All these facilities and services are run by characters on the Mourningstar. Characters that often make an appearance through conversations on board the ship, leading missions, or dropping in with the occasional helpful insight or snarky comment. So of course you're going to want to get to know who these people are and why they're here in the story. The new story campaign is found on the mission board at the top of the screen. For new players, or if you're playing with a brand new character, you will need to play the story campaign. If you played Darktide in the past but haven't for a while, your mileage may vary on if you will be required to play the campaign or not if you're playing with one of your previous characters. And for those of you who have been playing consistently for a while with your old characters, you will likely be able to skip it if you want. But the question is, should you skip the new story campaign? For us longtime players, is it worth playing? My answer is hands down, without a doubt, emphatically, yes. If you're at all like me and have been completely hooked by wanting to know where Darktide is going with its story, you really do not want to skip this. This new campaign breaks down and paces out the story much better. In your first few missions, you actually won't even encounter drag enemies, and then as you progress through the campaign, different types of enemies will start being encountered, which helps reinforce the idea that the warband, namely Rannick, didn't necessarily know from the beginning the Cult of Admonition existed, or how heavily they were involved with the invasion of Tertium. It also demonstrates to us as players how both the Mobians and Admonition are ramping up their response over the course of the war to try and stop the rejects. It's a pretty subtle thing you might not notice if you're not paying attention in the missions, but I bet at some point you'll find yourself stopping and going, wait, I haven't seen this particular type of enemy yet. On top of this, you also get a debriefing scene after every mission with one of the major characters from the Mourningstar, most often by Rannick or Morrow. These help give insight not just into what was accomplished through the mission itself, but also some of the goings-on behind the scenes that involve other characters. For example, there's a slight rewriting of the Consignment Yard mission story that adds a new minor plot point of curiosity with Hadron that Fatshark established a while ago in one of their short stories posted on their website and now have introduced in the game. That's right, some of the actual mission dialogues themselves have been rewritten for the campaign. Missions that take place in the Hourglass, which is where we currently understand Admonition's base of operations to be, have been heavily rewritten with brand new dialogues. I'm not going to give you any major spoilers in this video, but I will tell you the mysterious cultist from the Terror in the Dark event is back, and he and Zola have a lot to say to each other. Seriously, don't skip the campaign, it's so good. You'll also be shown different cutscenes that are from previous game updates that help expand the story. For example, the Consignment Yard mission I mentioned with the small rewrite to include some Hadron intrigue leads into the Secrets of the Machine God cutscene where Swagger contacts her about the Machinina Gloriana, and then that leads into the Clandestine Gloriana mission. It helps take all those pieces that you've probably forgotten about or that new players might have never seen and anchors them with context into the story. I do want to point out that based on my experience with the early access, it seems the new story was designed more with reject characters in mind, so some of the things that get said to you in debriefings, like being told you're still scum, might feel a little off if you're playing the Arbites, but still, it's solid overall. One last thing about the campaign, no spoilers, but there is a brand new cutscene after completing the Orthus offensive, and it gives us a huge show don't tell moment of Wolfer and the Mobian 6's backstory. Did I mention you should definitely play the campaign? Because you absolutely should. Alright, moving on. There's also been an update to the Mortis Trials. In general, Fatshark has upped the difficulty on it, hordes move into the combat zone faster, there's more enemies, etc. And they finally gave us an Auric level difficulty.
Hot damn!
But wait, there's more! We've been treated to a new set of memories from one of our characters on the Mourningstar, and it's Shipmistress Brahms. I will be doing a full lore video about her memories after the update is live for similar reasons to the campaign. I want to make sure that I'm getting the fully completed version instead of the early access I've been playing in, because from what I understand, we should be able to see her character model in the meat grinder just like Morrow and Zola, but unfortunately Lady Brahms isn't there for me yet. But as a little teaser, her memories include a very intriguing mystery and a real banger of a revelation.
I am well aware of the damage even one gene stealer can do.
And now we go to the crown jewel of the update, the Arbites class and gameplay. Look, I'm not a meta information person or min-maxer. My typical approach to playing Darktide is brain off, turn heretics into various pace consistencies. Honestly, if it wasn't for you guys and the camaraderie and fun we have with doing penances, Karnak clears, and pushing for Havoc together on streams, I probably wouldn't have ever tried to make builds to clear hard content in the first place. So first, genuinely, thank you all for being a part of that. And second, I tell you this so that you understand I'm not going to go over the talent tree, deep weapon info, or anything high level. Go watch Mr. E. He'll tell you all about that way better than I ever could. Instead, what I am going to do is show you gameplay with this dope ass shotgun. You know how you always see the enemy shotgunners and thought, gee Billy, your mom lets you have a good shotgun? Honestly, I can't overstate it. This shotgun was one of my favorite things about this class. The Arbites impact grenades? Rad as hell. How's the dog? Dog is honestly really solid. It's responsive, fast, and the times where Hooch has saved my ass from mutant charges or jumped on a monstrosity and distracted it while I pump out damage has been a lot. Honestly, I lost count. Bringing dog is like having an extra bot teammate, except it's actually a competent bot that you'll enjoy having on your team. When it was first announced, I'll admit, Arbites didn't excite me, and honestly, I figured it would be a class that I would pass over 9 times out of 10 to play Psyker instead. But the raw power of the weapons, the melee and range shield combo, the sheer toughness of this class, and the fact that it comes with effectively an extra teammate is a game changer. I can really see this turning the tide in our Havoc runs and make clearing Havoc 25 for the pants a lot more consistent. If you've been on the fence about whether Arbites is worth it, I can tell you my genuine, honest to God opinion is that it's fun as fuck on top of being strong. It's a fully fleshed out class that stands on its own, not just a veteran rehash. So if you plan to buy it on the 23rd, do me a favor and please wishlist it on Steam using my link in the description. For every 50 wishlists attributed from my link, I'll get an Arbites key that I'm going to give away to the community. Wishlisting from my or whoever your favorite Darktide creator is also super important because Fatshark let us know that this is one of the ways that they're going to determine how successful this creator early access session was and help guide their decisions for the future of the program. So seriously, it would mean a lot if you guys did that. Until Monday, June 23rd, when we can finally play this update together. I love you guys, and I'll see you out there against the Darktide. We finally made it into the creator program, baby! And I couldn't have done it without your guys' support. Special shout out to my top tier supporters, Leah S., Andrew Brown, Cabus, Ben, Cameron, Rich, Commander Orf, William McQueen, Darkslide, Adrift in Thought, Half-Blood, Catherine Darrow, Sean Sawyer, Solus Ludin, Nathan Wozni, Tomas Javurik, Odd Future Devil, Hunter of Ajax, K-Boy215, Neko Romancer, Israfel, Lizzie Young, Bozo, Kier Kurz, Billy, Lormock, Josh Wills, Zelos Node, Caliban, Erica1, Private Epsilon, Epaminondas, Jordan Duos, Edward Nigma, Mab Larg, Joseph March, Stutterbug, The Video Enthusiast, The Elephant and the Rider, Gadfly Cafe, Xander PR96, Shark Legion Kane, Yin, Ms. Blackfire, Mr. Stronk, Gundam Dynames, Spooky Spoopy, Skeletor, Blue Wanders, DOS719, Pug Police, Big Tim, Zid, Vector, Hellion7, CT5334, Miso Soup, Pickleock the Chair, Zytim, Raging Monkey, Bo, Bad Cat, Anka, Bride's Biscuit, Kron Chaos, The Thunder Guardian, Daniel Gerber, Aubrey Bessie, Freedom Frank, Macro, and Big Guy. Thank you guys all so much. Seriously, I wouldn't be here without all of you.